Let's get things started. Ready? Go!
Hello and welcome to Bounding into Comics. My name is John Trent. I'm the founder and editor-in-chief at Bounding into Comics. Today I got a story about Game of Thrones actor Peter Dinklage expressing his anger at Disney's upcoming live-action version of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, while also calling the woke mob racist after they accused him of yellowface back in 2018. Dinklage, who is currently doing a press tour for his latest film, Cyrano, appeared on Joker actor Mark Marone's podcast, WTF with Mark Marone, where Dinklage brought up Snow White. After discussing what is and isn't off-limits in comedy, Dinklage would change the subject, stating, "There's a lot of hypocrisy going on. I got to say, from being somebody who is a little bit unique, front row seat to some." He then trails off before Marone asks him to tell him what he sees. Dinklage then took aim at Disney's upcoming Snow White film. He said, "Well, you know, it's really progressive to cast a, literally no offense to anyone, but I was a little taken aback by, they're very proud to cast a Latina actress as Snow White, but you're still telling the story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So take a step back and look at what you're doing there. It makes no sense to me, because you're progressive in one way, but you're still making that effing backwards story of the Seven Dwarfs living in a cave. What the F are you doing, man? Have I done nothing to advance the cause from my soapbox? I guess I'm not loud enough," he opined. Dinklage then concluded, saying, "I don't know what studio that is, but they were so proud of that. And all love and respect to the actress and to the people who thought they were doing the right thing. But I'm just like, what are you doing?" Later in the podcast, Dinklage would return to the subject of Snow White, saying, "If you tell the story of Snow White and it's the most effed up, cool, progressive spin on it, let's do it all in. But I just don't know." Marone would offer his own thoughts, claiming that Disney is just appearing to be progressive and they are riding off the coattails of the original film's popularity. He explained, "They knew they got a cash cow with that story. In their mind, they're like, we've got a no-brainer here. We can win by appearing to be progressive, by casting a Latina, and we can just run money through this story again." I would be remiss if I didn't point out that the dwarfs in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs do not live in a cave. They live in a cottage near the mine where they work. Their depiction as miners is also in line with traditional European myths. In fact, in J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings books, they are also depicted as skilled miners and even built the massive underground city of Khazad-dûm, also known as Moria. But it's absolutely hilarious that we're seeing the fruits of woke identity politics. No one will ever be satisfied. There is always a pecking order, and someone is always going to come after you if you embrace woke identity politics. They always eat themselves. They always consume each other, and this is just another perfect example of it, as we see Peter Dinklage coming after Disney and the Snow White live-action film for seemingly just including the dwarfs in the movie. At least that's my assumption, because he does call it a effing backward story of the Seven Dwarfs living in a cave. Dinklage wouldn't just take aim at what he considers Disney's hypocrisy over their upcoming Snow White film, but he also called out the woke mob that went after him when he took on the role of Fantasy Island star Herb Villechaize in the HBO film My Dinner with Herb. Dinklage stated, "I played Herb Villechaize in an HBO film, and there was a lot of early backlash. How dare he play a Filipino? They were so liberal-minded, and I am as liberal as anybody, but they were so convinced because of how he looked, Herb, that he was Filipino. If that's not racism, what else? Because he's not. He was a Frenchman, and his physical condition made him look very cherubic, and I guess someone from the Far East. But they got very angry. How dare you do that?" Marone would then chime in asking, "And they didn't even have all of the information?" Dinklage responded saying, "Nothing, they just assumed. And here I am hanging out with his brother, Patrick Villechaize, who is just like laughing at all of it, who was born and raised in France with the guy." As an example of the type of people that were involved in this woke mob that were attacking him, that were even in fact accusing him of yellowface, DC Comics writer Mark Andreyko tweeted, "Is Dinklage an actual yellowface? Who thought this was a good idea?" There were dozens, if not hundreds, of tweets like this. Dinklage responded to the accusations at the time, telling Entertainment Weekly, "These people think they're doing the right thing politically and morally, and it's actually getting flipped because what they're doing is judging and assuming what he is ethnically based on his looks alone. He has a very unique face, and people have to be very careful about this stuff. This movie isn't Breakfast at Tiffany's. Personally, I would never do that, and I haven't done that because he wasn't. People are jumping to conclusions based on a man's appearance alone, and that saddens me." First off, I want to applaud Dinklage on calling the woke mob what it is. They are racist. And his own personal experience shows that. These people were claiming that he was in yellowface for taking on the role of Herb Villachet because they believed he was Filipino simply based off of the way he looked, except he actually wasn't Filipino. He is actually French. But while I applaud Dinklage for doing that, I also have to take issue with what he's doing with Snow White. As much as I find it hilarious that the woke is eating the woke, he is participating in the woke mentality, in the woke mob, maybe even starting a woke mob here with his comments to Mark Maron by trying to go after Disney's Snow White for actually doing a live action version of it that would include 7 dwarfs. And his seemingly only issue with it is that they would be including 7 dwarfs, and he doesn't like the depiction of the 7 dwarfs in that original film, despite the fact that they are some of the most heroic characters in the movie. So chiding the woke mob and then using the same tactics to go after Snow White is something. It's definitely something. And again, it just shows that the woke eat the woke and identity politics consumes itself. Those are my thoughts on the matter. Let me know what you think. My name is John Trent, and you've been watching Bounding into Comics.